spent months planning the perfect proposal, but overheard my GF calling me her backup plan. So I moved out in secret and let her come home to an empty apartment. Now she's freaking out. I'm 28M, and until last week, I thought I had my entire future mapped out. I'd been with my girlfriend Emily, 27F, for 4 years. We met through mutual friends, clicked instantly, and moved in together after 2 years. Things weren't perfect, but I genuinely believed we were solid. I was wrong. For the past 6 months, I'd been secretly planning to propose. I knew Emily wanted something special, so I pulled out all the stops. I booked a weekend getaway to a cabin in the mountains where I planned to pop the question under the stars. I even had a photographer lined up to capture the moment. I spent months saving, picking the perfect ring, and setting everything up. That night, I was supposed to be working late, but I finished early and decided to surprise her with dinner. On my way home, I grabbed takeout from her favorite sushi place. I figured I'd walk in, set up a little date night, and enjoy a quiet evening together. When I got to our apartment, I noticed something odd. The door was slightly ajar. Not enough to be alarming, but enough to make me pause. I stepped inside quietly, and that's when I heard voices coming from the living room. I wasn't trying to sneak around, but something about the conversation made me stop in my tracks. Emily was on the couch with her best friend Sarah. They had wine glasses in hand, laughing, totally unaware I was home. Then I heard my name. I mean, he's sweet, but let's be real, Emily scoffed. He's safe, a backup plan. Sarah laughed. You really think he's gonna propose? Emily groaned. I know he is. He's been acting all secretive and I caught him looking at rings on his laptop a few weeks ago. It's sweet, but I don't know if I want sweet. I don't know if I want him. My stomach dropped. Sarah took a sip of wine. So what, you're just gonna say yes and see what happens? Emily sighed. I mean, yeah, he's stable, good to me, but if something better comes along, who knows? I stood there frozen. The woman I'd spent years loving, planning a future with, was only keeping me around as a backup, not her first choice. Just good enough for now. I didn't make a sound. I slowly backed out of the apartment, took my keys, and left without them even realizing I was there. That was the moment everything changed. I sat in my car for a solid 10 minutes, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. My heart was racing, my mind a blur. I replayed her words over and over. Backup plan, good enough for now. I had spent months planning a perfect proposal for someone who saw me as a placeholder. The anger didn't hit me all at once. At first, it was just numb disbelief. But as I sat there staring at the apartment I had shared with her for years, something in me snapped. I wasn't going to beg for an explanation. I wasn't going to wait for her to decide if I was worth loving. If I was just a backup plan, then I was removing myself from the equation. I started the car and drove. Not to a bar, not to a friend's house. I drove straight to my buddy Mark's place. Mark and I had been friends since college, and if there was anyone I could count on, it was him. I showed up at his door, still holding the stupid sushi bag, and the moment he saw my face, he knew something was wrong. Dude, what happened? He asked, stepping aside to let me in. I dropped the food on his coffee table, sat down, and told him everything. Every word I had just overheard. Mark's expression darkened. She really said that? I nodded, like I wasn't even a real person, just a safety net until she found something better. Mark let out a low whistle. So what now? That was the million-dollar question. A breakup was obvious, but I didn't want some drawn-out, tearful confrontation where she tried to spin things or gaslight me into staying. I wanted out, fast. Then it hit me. I had 2 days off work, enough time to disappear before she even realized I was gone. Help me move out. Tonight. Mark's eyes widened. Are you serious? Dead serious, I said. She thinks I'm working late. If we hurry, I can be out before she even notices. Mark didn't hesitate. Let's do it. We drove back to the apartment, making sure the lights were still off. Emily was still at Sarah's, completely unaware of what was happening. I didn't waste time reminiscing or getting sentimental. I grabbed what mattered: clothes, important documents, my laptop, sentimental items. Mark helped me load everything into his truck. It took less than 2 hours to erase myself from that apartment. The last thing I did was leave my tea on the kitchen counter. No note, no goodbye, just absence. We drove straight to Mark's place, and I crashed on his couch for the night. The moment my head hit the pillow, my phone started buzzing. Emily. A few texts at first, then calls. I ignored them all. By morning, she had left 5 voicemails. The last one was frantic. "Babe, where are you? Did something happen? Please call me." I smirked, turned off my phone, and went back to sleep. By the time I woke up, my phone had exploded with notifications. Over a dozen missed calls from Emily, plus texts that started off normal, asking where I was, if I was okay, but quickly turned desperate. "Babe, why aren't you answering? I just got home. Where are you? Your stuff is gone. I don't understand. Please call me." Mark won't answer either. "Are you with him? Just tell me what's going on. If this is a joke, it's not funny." I stared at the messages, feeling nothing. No sadness, no second guessing, just satisfaction. She was panicking, and she had no idea why. Mark walked into the room with 2 mugs of coffee, smirking when he saw my face. "Judging by your expression, I'm guessing she finally realized you're gone?" "Oh yeah," I said, holding up my phone. "She's freaking out." Mark whistled. "Damn. And you're just gonna ghost her?" I shrugged. "Why not? She was gonna settle for me until something better came along. Let her deal with the reality of me being gone before she got the chance to replace me." I meant every word. Emily had taken me for granted, assuming I'd always be there, no matter how little she valued me. Now, she was learning otherwise. For the next few hours, I ignored her. She kept calling, sometimes back to back, other times leaving voicemails filled with shaky breathing and confused rambling. Then she started texting mutual friends. I ignored them all. I wasn't ready to explain anything yet. Instead, I focused on my next move. That afternoon, I made a few decisions. I took a leave of absence from work, crashed at Mark's for a couple of days, and started looking for apartments in a different city. Nothing too far, just far enough that Emily wouldn't be able to accidentally run into me. By the 3rd day, Emily's texts had changed. The panic was still there, but now she was demanding answers. "If you're alive and just ignoring me, that's seriously messed up. You owe me a conversation." "I don't understand what's happening. I thought we were fine. If this is about something I said, just talk to me. Please." She was grasping at straws now. She knew something had set me off, but she didn't know what. Then she showed up at Mark's. We were in his living room scrolling through apartment listings when we heard loud banging at the door. "Mark, I know he's in there. Open up." Mark and I exchanged looks. He muted the TV. "You want to deal with her, or should I tell her to screw off?" I exhaled. Might as well see what she has to say. Mark nodded and opened the door. Emily shoved past him, her eyes wild, like she hadn't slept in days. She turned to me instantly. "What is going on? Why is all your stuff gone? Why won't you answer me?" I leaned back on the couch, calm. "I heard what you said, Emily." Her face twisted in confusion. "What?" "I came home early that night," I said. "You didn't hear me walk in, but I heard you." Emily froze. Her mouth opened slightly like she wanted to deny it, but I saw the exact moment she realized. I continued. "Backup plan? Good enough for now?" "Yeah, I heard all of it." Her face went pale. I didn't let her finish. "You want to know why my stuff is gone? Because I refuse to be someone's safe option. You don't love me. You were just keeping me around until something better showed up. So I left." Emily's breathing was shaky. "That's not..." I cut her off again. "Don't even try to lie, Emily. I heard everything." She swallowed hard, then suddenly changed tactics. "I didn't mean it like that. It was just girl talk. I was venting. That's not how I really feel." I raised an eyebrow. "So you do want to marry me?" She hesitated, just for a second, but that second was everything. "That's what I thought," I said, standing up. "We're done, Emily." Her eyes welled up. "Babe, please. I was just being stupid. I do love you. I just got caught up in the moment." I shook my head. "No, you got caught up in the truth, and now you're only saying this because you're scared of losing me." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. That's when she snapped. Her face twisted in frustration. "So that's it? You're just gonna ghost me and throw everything away over one conversation?" "No," I said simply. "You threw it away." Tears spilled down her cheeks, but I didn't feel anything anymore. She had already lost me. Mark finally stepped in. "You should go, Emily." She glared at him, then turned back to me. "You'll regret this." I didn't even blink. "No, I won't." She left in a storm of angry tears, slamming the door behind her. I turned to Mark. "Well, that was dramatic," he snorted. "Dude, that was brutal." I let out a breath. It was over. For real this time, or so I thought. I thought that was the end of it. I had said my piece, cut ties, and was already making plans for a new start. But Emily wasn't done. A few days later, I got a call from my mom. "Hey, sweetheart," she said, her voice careful. "Emily just showed up at the house." I nearly dropped my phone. "She what?" "She's here, crying, saying you disappeared, and she doesn't know why. Your dad had to step outside because he was so pissed." I ran a hand down my face. I had expected her to text, maybe even show up at Mark's again. But my parents' house? That was next level desperate. "Put me on speaker," I sighed. My mom did, and I immediately heard Emily's shaky breathing. "Babe, oh my God, please, I just need to talk to you." "You went to my parents' house, Emily? Do you realize how crazy that is?" She sniffled. "I didn't know what else to do. You're ignoring me. You just left, and now I don't even know where you live." "That's the point," I said. "I don't want you to know where I live." Silence. Then she whispered, "I messed up. I know I did. But I love you. Can't we fix this?" "No," I said, "and showing up at my parents' house just proves I made the right choice." I turned to my mom. "You can tell her to leave now." Mom didn't even hesitate. "Emily, I think it's time for you to go." Emily let out a choked sob, but I didn't stay on the line to hear it. I hung up. That should have been the final straw, but then she took it even further. The next morning, when I got to my car, there was a note tucked under the windshield wiper. "Please, just talk to me." I stood there staring at it, my heart thudding. She didn't just call, she didn't just text, she had found me. I looked around the parking lot, suddenly hyper-aware of every car, every person. Had she been here? Was she still watching me? I grabbed the note, crumpled it in my fist, and walked straight back inside. Mark took one look at my face. "What now?" "She found my new place." His eyebrows shot up. "Dude, that's actually scary," I exhaled sharply. "Yeah, it is." That was the moment I knew ignoring her wasn't enough anymore. I picked up my phone, and for the first time since I left, I texted her. "Do not contact me again. Do not come near me. If you do, I will get a restraining order." It was short, final. And this time, she didn't reply. The silence was louder than any text she could have sent, and just like that, she was finally gone.